Well, we hope that you enjoy that report in which Rafiq Salam was being well sandwiched by the ladies there. Soft hands there for him. But down south, we know that a lot of news has been taking place. The Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Kokwanyi Doho, is behind bars at the police headquarters. But Mama Yusuf Bwanji, Joseph Okablede, all of them are here. We told you also we may likely be joined by a lot of the great political scientists and international experts we have around. Mama.
Yeah. First of all, good morning.
Thank you.
Koku actually spent the night, we're told, at the BNI headquarters.
Oh, BNI.
Yes, the BNI
What a great way.
Yep. And we're waiting to see, we're still monitoring because he is still, in terms of the law, they haven't gone overboard. So we're waiting to see what time they will take him to the courts, because that's where we're told will be the next stop.
What does the law say in terms of how many hours or days you can keep somebody a suspect, so to speak?
That Joseph
They can't keep him beyond 48 hours. So if the 48 hours is about to elapse, they have to rush to a court and get the court to remand him in custody. And the information we are picking up from his lawyers who were present yesterday was that he has been charged with treason for now. So that is the charge that has been leveled against him, and that is a very high crime.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's huge.
Can he be bailed?
That's the
yes,
it's a bailable
the police would
offense.
have actually granted him bail if they wanted at that level.
Okay.
But when they take him over to the court, that is if they decide to carry out the charge, they can still get him bail at that level.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do the newspapers. We're telling the story from various angles. First of all, at 7, we'll be joined by the national organizer of the NDC. We're talking about the demonstration that's going to happen. We know the NDC is deeply involved in this. He would tell us what the plan is in terms of the demonstration. And then later on, all this morning, we will be talking about the angle of the law. We start from the arrest, the fact that there was no arrest warrant, the fact that they went ahead to visit and search his home as well, and the fact that they've charged him for treason. What does it all mean? That's a huge charge they've slapped on him. But is this more like a deja vu? Have we seen and heard all of this happen before? Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Sounds like Kennedy Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, the only difference is that at the initial stage when they asked him to come over, it was more like an invitation. But with this one, it sounds like from the onset it was an arrest.
Yeah.
When he arrived at the CID, he was detained. You had supporters of the MPP arriving at the CID headquarters to power pressure on them to release him. He was subsequently charged with treason as well. Then in the end, he was released because the state was not interested in following up the matter. He was acquitted.
But you were, Roland, so Joseph was at the press center covering that press conference. The press conference didn't have that kind of mileage until Kokwanyi Doho was escorted. What did they tell him straight ahead that they were arresting him? Was that the initial thing?
So Kokwanyi Doho was actually the MC for the press conference. He was conducting events when just about an hour after it had started, I realized he had exited the hall. He exited for about 15 minutes. When he returned, he walked to Mr. Seydou Nketia, also seated at the podium. He spoke to Seydou Nketia, and I could see Seydou Nketia signaling him to take his seat and be patient. So he went to sit down. Then right after it ended, I approached him and I tried to get an interview with him about the comments that he had made concerning the coup d'etat. I asked him directly whether he thought the comment was appropriate. He replied that he doesn't think I should ask him any such question relating to that, and if I have any question, it should be about the press conference he just organized. So right afterwards, he walked some few meters away from me. Then I realized a lot of people had surrounded him. Then he turned towards me and he started saying that the guys are from the CID and they say they are here to arrest me.
Oh, Koku told you that?
Yes. So we have all that on camera. So it was at this point when the gentleman in the suit is from the CID and the red tie. The other one with the blue shirt, the fair man with the blue shirt, the tall one, is also from the CID. So those are the two gentlemen who were at this point telling him that he was to come with them. In fact, he asked them directly whether it was an invitation or he was under arrest. He said they told him he was under arrest. He demanded to see the arrest warrant. The gentleman in the African print was one of the very vocal individuals close to him who were demanding for the arrest warrant. They told him they don't need to show it to him, that he should come along with them. At that point, he told them that, okay, he's not running anywhere. He's going into his vehicle. He's going to drive his vehicle and accompany them to the CID headquarters. They said, no, you're under arrest. You are coming with us. So at that point, he entered his vehicle, trying to move his vehicle towards the CID headquarters. It was at that point that armed police officers arrived at the press center. So they blocked the entrance to the press center.
To stop
they closed
him
it up to
from
prevent him
exiting.
from moving a vehicle. Then they had to go and talk to him. He had decided, okay, he was going to alight, but he's not going to move into their vehicle because he wasn't comfortable doing that, and that he was going to walk with them to the CID headquarters since it's not far from the press center. So that's
so they walked.
They walked.
But this is significant because you can't arrest someone without, if you say you are arresting me, then you need to show me your arrest warrant.
The police officers are present at the press center. They argue that they don't think they need to necessarily show it to them. I mean,
what does the law say? If you want to arrest somebody,
at least you need to inform the individual of why you are arresting him. At least if you are not going to make the warrant available, he should know why you are picking him up. I mean, but they didn't. At no point did they even mention that it had to do with the comments that he had passed, but of course we knew that that was what it was about. They simply said, you are supposed to come with us. You are under arrest, come with us. I want to sit around. They said, no, come with us. You are preventing us from doing our work. And they took him away.
I tried to get a bit of education on that from some lawyers. And the explanation is that unless it's an offense in progress. So for instance, if somebody goes to steal, in the process of stealing, then you can't rush and go to the magistrate court and say, I'm going to get a warrant for your arrest.
But if it's been committed already.
If it's in progress, or if the circumstance is such that you need to cause the arrest now and now, otherwise, you probably may not get the person. And that's those circumstances. But we know that he said the words that he said
hours earlier.
Yeah, even a day.
I can imagine the
police
yesterday. Officers arguing perhaps that, it's a threat he sounded. What if he's going to hit the streets and carry out his words maybe at 12 or at 1 p.m. So why not moving quickly and pick him up before you go through that process? Perhaps that could be arguments.
Anyway, let's spend the rest of the time doing the newspapers. It's a Wednesday. We've got AM Business, which is brought to us by EcoBank. We've also got sports. We know there were some international friendlies. So we'll bring you up to speed on all of those events. But of course, we're spending a chunk of our time talking about Koko Anyidoho's arrest, all the angles. And of course, we're also monitoring that demonstration. Roland will be off from this studio and he will be at the Obra Sports following through the demonstration. So let's start over. I'll do the Daily Graphic newspaper real quick. Front page of the Daily Graphic, of course, is this story that we are talking about. Police pick Koko Anyidoho for questioning to petition Supreme Court to nullify Ghana-US Defense Pact. And this is the beginning of all these troubles, really. It goes back to this agreement with the US. And today, this news was on the BBC. I listened to Okujeto Ablakwa on Radio Gold yesterday afternoon say that one of the strategies that they are using is to talk about this deal so much and express dissatisfaction so much to the extent that the US government would hear it and say, Jack, even though you've agreed to this, I think that your people are unhappy, so we are withdrawing from the deal. So that's one of the strategies.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I should believe that by now the U.S. Embassy would have definitely briefed the home government or the government at home on the situation in Ghana, the agitations that is going on, among others. But it's interesting, the U.S. ambassador thinks we are making too much noise. You recall our interview with him, he was simply surprised that Ghanaians are complaining about this agreement.
But when you see, that's why I feel that sometimes the police should be reading into some of these things. I mean, if this gets bloody at any point, if it gets messy, if people are beating, if people, I know that people
was
will provoke
anybody
you, but if
beaten or shot yesterday evening?
We've seen photographs suggesting someone had been shot. What I can speak of is our colleague Latif Idris. We are told he was beaten by some police officers.
Oh, they beat him?
Yes, he's injured. He had to go to, yesterday evening.
Latif Idris?
Latif Idris, yes, yesterday evening. And he had to be taken to the hospital for treatment yesterday evening.
Wow.
Which hospital?
I can't tell, but just late in the night,
so Latif
we got information on the platform. I'm sure we can try and contact him and get.
Oh yeah, we will gather. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. That's sad. See, that's the thing. So when this gets like this, then the international community will certainly be worried because you don't want your people clashing and, injuring themselves. But let's quickly do the rest of the stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Educate women on legal options on abortion. That's an interesting story on page 36. And an earthquake imminence, Geological Survey Authority warns. These are the front page headlines.
Okay, so that if any of us are living close to those areas, we'll be worried.
On page 3, I think Joseph is close.
It should be the McCarthy towards Kaswa area.
Did you experience it?
No, I didn't, but I heard it was more pronounced around Malam Junction area towards McCarthy. That was where it was,
those areas.
Okay, so here's a story by Edmond Smith Asante. It says the Ghana Geological Survey Authority has warned of an imminent earthquake in the country following the tremors that have been occurring in recent times. And according to the GGSA, signs picked up after earth tremors hit parts of Accra on March 24, 2018 show that the fault lines were active, quote, which means that an earthquake can occur at any time, on quote. A senior, okay, so the details of where this is coming from, all captured on page 3 in the news. This is a serious story, by the way. This is one that we ought to pay attention to if this prediction is anything to go by. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm glad they didn't mention the areas. Maybe my areas.
Oh, I'm sure if you go ahead to read the story, because it tells you about the epicenter, and then the looming earthquake. I'm sure they would definitely talk about the areas.
The Ghanaian Times reports this morning in civil coup d'etat comments Koku Anyidoho lands in hot water as CID interrogates him over coup threats. Comes along with his photograph. 10,000 police to be deployed for Easter celebration, and condemned treasonable comments by Koku Anyidoho, that is coming from government and the NPP to the NDC. Yesterday we heard Johnson Ketia on another platform saying that the party had distanced itself from the comments made by Mr. Koku Anyidoho, but shortly after, when he was picked up, clearly he had the support of the party in terms of the party pushing for his release there. So those are the major stories on the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
All right, you're done?
Yeah.
Let's look at the Daily Guide newspaper. It says British passenger driver to be hanged. Baumia adores NIA cars, and that's instructive because if you get to look at the story, it says we have had a number of cars given to the National Identification Authority, and they were given a boost yesterday as the Vice President donated a fleet of the vehicles. We're told they comprise 62 vehicles, 57 Nissan hardbody pickups, and 5 Toyota Hiace, we'll call it Toyota Hiace buses, 60 motorbikes, and 2 generator sets. Ultimately, they are meant to facilitate the issuance of ID cards known as Ghana card by the authority, which is supposed to begin late April or early May. Now it's gone to early May. Okay. So we'll see how it goes. But
we just hope the vehicles ensure that the registration takes place. Our government has missed the deadline twice. Dr. Baumia spoke about it on 2 occasions.
It's only the president currently who has a Ghana card.
We are told it's not an active one. When they had to go
so
to
it's a demonstrative card.
That
yes,
was,
it's not a card that
was just for
just to
like a
everyone.
symbolic
Well,
kind of
we're
thing.
told that chieftaincy crisis looms at Kwewu, and we have a picture there of Professor Ajimai Bedua Kosa. I'm sure he has a chieftaincy name. The story is on page 6 of the paper, so we'll go to page 6, and it says that one of the claimants to the Okwumans too, Professor Ajimai Bedua Kosa, is challenging the legitimacy and eligibility of Dasibre Kwamwage upon the second, who was alleged to have been installed by the kingmakers of Abene and subsequently as the Omahini of the Kwewu traditional area. And the chiefs and people of Kwewu Abene in the East Kwewu district of the Eastern region on Thursday, May 4, 2017, installed Professor Ajimai Bedua Kosa as the chief of the town. Well, we know Easter is coming. Kwewu is for
Kwewu.
Easter, and Anyidoho grabbed. Yeah, it's
I think that story is making all the front page headlines, all the newspapers.
I love the picture of the Daily Guide. You see him, some Che Guevara type of picture there. But let's go to a center spread. The news one pull out of the Daily Guide. It says Gina Blair receives applause over kente dress. It's not entertainment though. This is diplomacy. But I guess to find space, and they've linked it to the dress kente.
Roland, what's your problem? That's her paper.
All right, so it's her paper.
She should have actually been on the front page.
She should have been on the front page. So it means that it's even a wrong editorial discretion, according to Mama View Sobwaje. Black Panther, an empowering film for African children. Fuso DG, French actress Stephanie Audra dies at 85. And then we have Wizkid announces collaboration with Nicki Minaj. Wizkid has been making waves, collaborating with a number of US
Okay, so we're just going to run
live.
through the front page headlines. We've got the Finder.
The Finder reports car power ship contract to be extended to 20 years after government negotiates about 25% reduction in the tariff. So that was a very controversial issue.
Yeah, this was a deal that was not supposed to be good.
According to Dr. Bavia before the elections. But
now it's a good one.
They say 25% reduction.
No, even if it's supposed to be extended, it means there's an extension. So you definitely would have asked for a reduction because it's going to be a long term.
Yeah, so we need to do the analysis to find out whether
I think that in the face of Koku's arrest and all the other things, tell us this issue has been drowned a bit. Yeah. It will be resurrected, trust me.
Yeah. NIA resourced with logistics for rollout of national IDs also on the front page. CID cages Anido searches his house, and Imani kicks against communal cleaning also on the front page of the Finder. Okay,
let's end it all with the Daily Dispatch newspaper. And this is interesting revelation on the front page. The paper says that the $20 million in the agreements, the Ghana-US military cooperation agreements, is actually not for Ghana. It is for U.S. expenses in Ghana. So that's the other side of this whole story. There's some assurance also coming from the NPRA, that's the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. They say pension funds with Unibank are safe, so rest assured. All that you need to know about Koku's arrest, and then government extends controversial car power deal by another 10 years. So this is where we have to end it for now. We have to bring you sports real quick. We'll bring you AM business. I've got lots of your messages. Don't worry. We're spending the rest of the time talking about the issue of Koku's arrest, the demonstration on the back of the Ghana-US, defense agreements, all of that. Roland will be away to Obra. What should we expect?
Logically, for demonstrations such as this is the time that we have the massing up of the numbers and the personalities that will be heading those demonstrations, the routes that they are likely to take, and then what the subject issues are. There will be some side scenes like what will be on the placards, what they will be saying prior to the start of the demonstration. So basically,
so we're capturing everything. You're not losing out. You get the information first here on JoyNews on the AM show. But Joseph will pretty much be sticking with me. After all, he's my son. So we're running the show together this morning. Stay with us. Maxwell Agbagba will also be on the ground. We're speaking to lots of people on the show today. It will be exciting. You enjoy our coverage. So stay with us. Benedict is up next real quick.